Once upon a time, there was a girl, and she had such beautiful and long hair that everyone who saw her could not take their eyes off. The strands were so light, just golden. Therefore, they called her Goldilocks. For all her beauty, she was a very naughty little girl. Mom always allowed her to walk in the yard, but ordered her not to go into the woods behind their house. Goldilocks was very interested to know what is in that forest. And so, while Mother did not see, she somehow left the house into the forest. The girl walked for a long time in the forest. Either he finds a berry, then looks at a beautiful flower, then listens to how the birds sing. So she got lost in the forest. And suddenly she saw an unusual house in a clearing. Goldilocks approached him quietly. I walked around but did not see anyone. She knocked on the door, but no one answered. Then she knocked harder, and the door opened itself. Goldilocks entered cautiously. 3 bears lived in that house. One bear was dad big and shaggy. The other was a mother bear. It was smaller. The third was a little bear. The bears were not at home because they had gone for a walk in the woods. The girl entered the room and saw 3 bowls of porridge on the table. The first bowl, the biggest one, was the daddy bear. The second bowl, the smaller one, was the mother bear, and the third, the smallest, was the bear cub. Near each bowl lay a spoon, large, medium, and small. Goldilocks was so hungry that she first wanted to eat from a large bowl. She took the largest spoon, took the porridge, tasted it, but the porridge was too hot. Then she took a medium spoon, took the porridge, tasted it, but the porridge was too cold. Finally, she took a small spoon and tasted the porridge from the small bowl. This porridge was neither hot nor cold, just right. And Goldilocks ate all the porridge from the little bowl. After eating, the girl wanted to sit and saw 3 chairs near the stove, one large, another smaller, and the third, very small, with a little red pillow. First, she tried to climb into the largest chair, but could not. Then the girl tried to sit on the middle chair, but it was very hard and uncomfortable. Finally, she sat down on the smallest chair, and it was just right for her. Goldilocks liked the chair so much that she began to swing on it. The chair cracked, broke, and she fell to the floor. The girl got up and went to another room. There were 3 beds, large, medium, and small. First, Goldilocks climbed onto the first bed, but it was too high and hard. I lay down on the middle one, it was too spacious and soft. The girl lay down on the third, smallest bed. She was just right for her. Goldilocks felt so comfortable and cozy that she quickly fell asleep. The girl was fast asleep when the bear family returned home. The bears got very hungry and immediately went to the table. Seeing his bowl, Papa Bear got really angry. Someone was eating my porridge. He growled. The bear mother also looked into her bowl and growled less loudly. Someone was eating from my bowl too. And the bear cub, seeing his empty bowl, cried loudly. Someone didn't just eat from my bowl, he ate all my porridge. The bears smelled something was wrong, left the table, and began to look around. Daddy Bear noticed that someone moved his chair and growled in a terrible voice. Someone was sitting on my chair. The bear mother looked at her chair and complained. Someone was sitting on my chair and moved it from its place. And then, the bear looked at his broken chair and again cried loudly. Someone did not just sit on my chair, but broke it. All 3 bears went cautiously into the bedroom. Someone was lying on my bed and crumpled it. Papa Bear roared in a terrible voice. And someone was lying on my bed too and crumpled it, growled the mother bear. The teddy bear looked at his bed and cried again. Someone was lying on my bed. And then he saw the girl and squealed in a thin voice, and still sleeps in her. Dad and Mom bears came to the bed and saw that a little girl was sleeping there. Goldilocks woke up from the cry of a bear cub, and was very frightened. There were 3 bears in front of her. She instantly jumped out of the house and ran wherever her eyes looked, without looking back. The girl ran for a long time. She was very tired, and then she saw her mother, who was looking for her missing daughter in the forest. Since then, Goldilocks always listened to her mother and did nothing without her permission. She became a very obedient, kind, and good girl.
Once upon a time there was an old miller who had 3 sons. When the miller died, he left his sons a mill, a donkey, and a cat. The eldest got the mill, the middle got the donkey, and the youngest had to take the cat. The older brothers laughed at him, but the cat promised that he would make his younger brother rich if he gave him a pair of boots and a bag. The owner was surprised, but fulfilled the cat's request. The cat immediately pulled on his boots on his hind legs, poured oats into the sack, threw it over his shoulders, and went hunting. In the forest, he opened the bag, threw it on the ground, and hid himself in the thickets. He didn't have to wait long. A curious hare galloped to the sack and climbed into it to feast on oats. And the cat was just waiting for that. He jumped out of the thicket, tightened the sack, lifted it on his shoulders, and went to the royal castle. The king of that country was a great lover of good food. The cat bowed deeply to him, handed the hare, and said that it was a gift from his master, the Marquis de Carabas. The king was pleasantly surprised by this surprise. The cat bowed like a real nobleman and hit the road. The next day he went hunting with the sack again. This time he managed to catch 2 fat partridges. The king was delighted to see another pleasant gift. For several weeks in a row, the cat continued to wear partridges and hares to the king. But he did not say anything about this to his hungry and emaciated owner. Once the cat saw a princess in the palace. She was very beautiful. The cat realized that she would be a wonderful wife for his master. And so the king wanted to finally meet the marquis. The cat replied that they could find him tomorrow for a walk where the mills were. And he himself ran at full speed to the mill. Seeing the owner, the cat said that tomorrow he will need to swim in the river, and then his life will change. The next morning, as soon as he got into the water, the cat grabbed his clothes and hid them in the bushes. At that moment the royal carriage appeared on the road. The cat jumped out onto the road and shouted at the top of his lungs, "Save me! Help! The Marquis de Carabas is drowning!" Hearing this, the king ordered to pull the marquis out of the water. The miller's son got very frightened when 2 guards began to drag him out of the river, where he was basking in warm water. The king ordered to bring him his silk attire. The miller's son initially refused, but he liked the gold-embroidered clothes so much that he gladly put on the royal outfit. The king invited him to the carriage, where the beautiful princess was sitting. The miller's son was dumbfounded, but without further ado got into the carriage. A minute later, the carriage rolled on through the fields and meadows that belonged to the giant cannibal who lived in a huge castle. The cat wasted no time, and what was the spirit rushed ahead of the carriage towards the meadow, where the reapers were working in the sweat of their brow. He asked them to say that these fields belonged to the Marquis de Carabas, otherwise the evil cannibal will eat them. Before the astonished reapers could reply, the king's carriage pulled up. And when the king asked whose meadows they were, they answered in a friendly chorus that these fields belonged to the Marquis de Carabas. Meanwhile, the cat went straight to the man-eater's castle. With feline dexterity, he jumped over the stone wall and made his way into the castle. The cannibal was sitting at a large table laden with various dishes. Seeing the Puss in Boots, he was greatly surprised at such impudence. The cat began to tease the giant and said that he could not turn into a lion. Before the cat had time to utter these words, the cannibal turned into a huge lion with a shaggy mane. The cat's soul went into his boots from fear, but he overcame it and said that the cannibal could never turn into a mouse. The terrible lion disappeared, and a small mouse appeared in its place. And that was all the cat needed. In the blink of an eye he caught up with the mouse, caught it and ate it. At this very time, the royal carriage drove into the castle courtyard. Opening the carriage doors, the cat bowed politely and said that he was glad to see everyone in the castle of the Marquis de Carabas. It is difficult to say who was more numb from amazement at these words, the king or the miller's son, who already did not understand anything at all. The cat took the guests to the table. At the end of the dinner, the king, having eaten to the fullest, said that the marquis was indeed a very worthy man, therefore he would gladly give his daughter to wife. The princess was happy, young, handsome, and besides, she really liked the rich marquis. Soon they played a wedding. So the miller's son married a princess and became a prince. All of them lived happily ever after, especially the cat, who proudly paced the palace in high boots.